Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing my April favorites. I kind of feel like April is such a long month, and because we had the Sephora sale, there's a lot of new products that entered my life, and so I try to combine some products that are new that I've really loved and some products that, I've just used throughout the month. And, I think we have a good amount, but not excessive. And so I'm excited to share with you. I'll also show you how I applied this makeup using some of my favorite products. And that's about it. If you're interested, continue watching. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Tania. Don't forget to subscribe down below. Also, make sure to have your notifications on. That way you know every time I upload a new video. Let's get started. I have one skincare product to talk about, 3 perfumes, and then we'll go on to makeup. I'm also going to do timestamps if you're interested in just one category. I'm going to start with this one from Paula's Choice. I purchased this 2 weeks ago when the first day of Sephora, and I've been using it since. Very rarely do I introduce skincare or share skincare with you guys unless I used it for 2-3 months. However, this was a love at first application. I don't use this a lot. I use it 2, maybe 3 times a week at most, just because it is so intense. This is a 2% BHA liquid exfoliant. I do it at night. I make sure you don't combine it with any like retinol or retin-A. And so I would use this instead of my retinol. And in the morning, it's almost like I had a glowiness to my skin, smoothness. The texture is so much more even, and if I had dry patches, it just almost blurred everything. It was such a huge improvement within one day that I wanted to mention that, this I love, and I really feel like my pores looked better, my skin looked smoother overall, and huge favorite. For perfumes, I have 3 that I want to mention right here. I'm going to start with this one from Parfum de Marie, just because I've talked about this quite a bit. This is the Valaya, and I can't get enough of this perfume. I know this has such a mixed reviews and it's a very expensive, but for me, this is such a unique perfume because it changes. Even though the scent is like very citrusy and then it's kind of musky, but then the next day you can still smell it quite strongly, like as a burst of citrus on your skin. I love this one. I use it way too much and I feel like I'm gonna go through it too quickly. There is a couple hours where I question, like, do I really love this one? Because it turns into that musk, and there's something, I wouldn't say bitter about it, but there's something there that I don't love, but I still like. That goes away quickly and it becomes just such a beautiful, clean, fresh, citrusy scent that I love it so much. Even on my skin the next day, like I wore it last night or yesterday all day, and even though I change clothes, I still smell that brightness from that perfume. I absolutely love it. Another one that is from AERIN. This is the Mediterranean Honeysuckle. I love AERIN perfumes. I think they're so underrated. There's so many beautiful scents from them, and this is newer to me. Even though I've smelled it, for years, I never purchased it, but for this summer, I went ahead and purchased it. This definitely smells more on the aquatic side, but a very like honeysuckle, like that sweet honeysuckle, but it also has that almost tropical scent to it. Oh, it's so gorgeous, fresh, and yeah, I really like it as well. And then the last one is one that I picked up from the Sephora sale, and this is from Floral Street, the Sunflower Pop. Whew, if you want citrus and freshness, this is it. This is just like you're taking a bite from an orange, and you have lemon, and there's sweetness in it. Oh, I love this one, and I don't feel guilty overspraying it, even though you don't have to, because it's quite strong. Because it's not excessively expensive, like, this one right here. It's like, ooh, that's so much perfume that I just put on. But this one I can overspray if I want to, and it's just brightness and freshness. So this, I like it more than the other one that I picked up, which I can't remember. Arizona Bloom. That one's really nice too, but for spring, summer, I think that this one is just perfect. Moving on to makeup, I have here 2 primers that I've been reaching for. The first one is the Hourglass Vanish. This is a beautiful blurring primer. It also goes so well over texture. It helps with longevity, and I also really like it because it's not drying, like it doesn't feel drying on the skin. I've been reaching for this a lot because it's in my project pan, so I'm trying to make a dent in it, but I use so little, just kind of on the T-zone to help with my pores, that, you know, I didn't make a huge dent in it. However, because I've been reaching for it and forcing myself, I've really learned to love this. Is it as intense as my Tom Ford? No. And do I like it more than, let's say, my Glowish? I don't think so, or it's like very close to my Glowish. I still think the Tom Ford primer is like my top favorite because it's so blurring, but this does a little bit of everything. So I've been really liking it as a one and done primer. It doesn't give me glow, but besides that, it just does such a good job at all my concerns. So I really have been loving that one. And for a Radiance base, this Iconic London Radiance Booster. Now, Iconic London, there's so many things that I like and so many things I really don't like. Like I did a video where I tried a full face of Iconic London pretty much. And, you know, not everything worked for me. But this one is one of the better, like, primer, illuminating primer. It kind of reminds me of the e.l.f. one, you know, the Charlotte Tilbury one, but this is a little bit thicker and it has quite a lot of radiance. I really like the way it sits on the skin. I like that it has some color to it. And it's not too metallic, but it's definitely glowy. Would I use this on its own? Probably not. I would use it as a highlighter, but I like to use it under foundations because it gives a beautiful radiance to the skin. And I like the way it sits on my skin. I like the way it sits under foundation. So overall, this is a beautiful product. It is in the color Champagne Glow. I kind of wish I had a darker one for summertime, but you know, I've been reaching for this a lot. For foundations, I have 3 that I've used quite a lot. I'm going to get this out of the way because I feel like I've talked about this or used this in every single one of my videos. This is the GUERLAIN Terracotta Le Tint. This works so well with my skin. It's actually what I'm wearing right now. I always reach for this. There's something about it that meshes so well with my skin. It is a natural finish. It's not too glowy. It's not too matte. The way it sits on the skin is very skin-like. It does give me, I would say, a medium coverage, medium buildable coverage. And I love everything about this. It works so well with my skin. On me, it doesn't get into dry patches, which I have a lot of. It's a perfect match for me. I know a lot of you guys reached out and told me how much you guys love it too. I've seen a couple of reviews here and there that they didn't work for them as well as it worked for me. And I just don't know how that's possible. But we all have different skin tones. It doesn't work for everybody, but for me, I want to say it has climbed up to being my top favorite foundation just because it gives me everything. It gives me enough coverage. Like, for example, I really like the Chantecaille. Like, I feel like these two are kind of close match. This doesn't give me as much coverage as the GUERLAIN. This is more skin-like, but the GUERLAIN is more perfected. Like, I could go out using this foundation. So absolutely loving this. Another one that I've reached for quite a bit this month, it is the Chanel Le Beige Touch Water Fresh Complexion Touch. Now, I've reviewed this when it first came out, and for some reason I haven't reached for it a lot. I don't know why. I definitely tend to reach for the Water Fresh, like the regular one, more because it's just easy. It's almost like a tint for me. This has more coverage, but because of that, in the past month, I've been reaching for this more and more, and I'm loving it. I think it looks so much like skin. It gives me a little bit more coverage than the water tint. This one is the Fresh Tint, and this one is the Complexion Touch. Honestly, I've reached for the Fresh Tint quite a lot as well because I like it for a no makeup kind of look. Like even if I'm not wearing anything except like a lip balm, I can put this on and I feel like it just puts a filter on my face. But this does similar to that with more coverage. And so I've been reaching for this, even though it doesn't look like I've used much. You don't need as much from this one because it's much more concentrated. And I think the whole idea of this is just I do 1 or 2 pumps and rub it all over my face. I could use a beauty blender. Most of the time I just use my fingers, and it just looks like my skin just more perfected. It definitely has a glow to it. I'm not sure how much I'm going to use it in summertime because it could be a little bit too glowy, but we'll see. So far, I'm absolutely loving it, and I'm glad I pulled it out of my drawer because I feel like it was neglected, yet it's such a good product. And then the last foundation is my Caliray. I'm shocked that I still have in here product because this is my go-to skin tint when I want barely there makeup. The Water Fresh as well, but I would say that I choose this one more often than not because I know it gives me that more of a natural finish. It's not too glowy. It gives me enough coverage. I would say light to medium, and I love it. I think it is fabulous. I have the color 6. It's okay. It works. It's not a perfect shade like the Summer Friday in the shade 4. That is a perfect undertone for me. This is a little bit more warm, but in the summertime, I think it's fine. Honestly, I've used the Summer Friday as well, but I think with Caliray, it's a little bit more, and I'm trying to finish it up. It's also in my project pan. Moving on to concealers, I still use my favorite, Caliray, Givenchy, even Tom Ford. Like these have reached for a lot. You guys know that I feel like these are my 3 go-to. However, a new discovery from the Sephora sale is this YSL Touche Éclat High Coverage Radiant Concealer. Since I bought it, this is the only one I've been reaching for. I bought 2 colors, the number 2 and 3, and I am in love. There's something about this concealer that it doesn't get into my fine lines. It looks so beautiful under the eyes. It does have a radiance, but it's such a healthy radiance. It's not glowy. And the way it just melts into my skin, I can wear it with foundation, without foundation. I showed you in the clip how it looks on top of the Chanel Complexion Touch. And that one doesn't have as full coverage, and also on the GUERLAIN one, and it works with both of them so beautiful. I am in love with this concealer. I think a lot of people should look into it. This is more of a medium coverage. You're not going to get full coverage, but I don't like full coverage. And I also like that the undertones are slightly peachy. The number 3 definitely has more peach, and the number 2 is more brightening for me. But I really, really loved the number 3 so much that I went ahead and ordered the number 2 for brightening, and I combined them, and I think it's just such a beautiful concealer. Very underrated in my opinion because I truly don't hear anybody talking about them. And that's all I've been using. Since I bought them, these are the only concealers that I've used. Powder, Kosas. I've gone back into my Kosas powder. This is in the color Breezy. It's broken, the packaging's broken, and I was gonna buy the mini in the sale, and I just kind of forgot. But I think eventually I will end up picking the mini because it's nice for traveling. This is just such a pain. I don't like the Kosas packaging. I think it breaks quickly and it's just too chunky. However, the powder, when you stop using a powder for a couple months because you've discovered other ones and you come back and you're like wondering, why did I ever stop using this? It is fabulous. It blurs, it still gives a luminosity, but it sets the concealer or the makeup. I think this is one of the best powders that I've ever tried. For bronzer, I have here the Makeup by Mario Skin Enhancer in the color Medium. I did pick this up at the Sephora sale, and I really like this color. It's more of a bronzy color on me, which I think it's better for summertime. The color light medium was more of a almost contour on me at this point, but this one is beautiful, perfect, performs the same. I absolutely love this formula. If I could probably pick one bronzer to ever have, it would be this one. Even though it's more of a light bronzer, it works somehow even with fuller coverage, with lighter coverage, with no foundation. I think this is absolutely my favorite bronzer. And another discovery this month for me personally was this Haus Labs bronzer. Where have I been? I picked up the shade 4 during the sale, and I think I forgot to haul this. Wow, this bronzer is so unique. The formula is almost like a cream to powder. It has a luminosity to it because of the texture, but there's no sheen in it. It's perfect. Wow, it is so gorgeous on the skin. It blends in, it bronzes so beautiful. There's so many different shades, and I feel like this is the light level 4. I think this works so well for my skin. I can build this up, I can sheer it out. I can see how this will soon become a go-to bronzer for me. And I love the formula. I think the fact that it's powder, but the way it blends into the skin, it almost looks like a cream, or it feels like a cream. Very, very unique. I love this. And I know it's not new to the market, but it's new to me, and I think it is fabulous. Another huge bronze discovery this month has been the Pat McGrath, specifically the color Bronze Dawn. I have done a application and a full review on this one, and whenever I applied this color, it worked so well with my skin. Everybody in the comments were like, that is the color for you. It's warm, but it's not orangey, and it's very soft powder compared to Haus Labs. Haus Labs is more creamy to the touch. This feels more like a true powder, but it's so elegant, soft. The finish, it has no shimmer in it, but again, it's not a flat matte. I think this bronzer release from Pat McGrath is amazing, and I didn't recommend it necessarily in the Sephora sale, but I think Pat McGrath has 30% off now. Hopefully these are included, and I think this bronzer formula it's just a go-to for anybody, even if you have oilier skin or more dry skin. I think it works for everybody because it's just a good, I want to say basic formula. It sounds bad, but it's one of those that you'll always be able to reach for no matter the circumstances. Blushes. We've had so many blushes lately. I have talked about the Rare Beauty blushes that I've discovered last month. Those are still fabulous, but the Armani blushes came, and I really, really like them. Specifically, the two colors, the 60 and the 50. The 60 is such a beautiful kind of plummy shade, but the way it sits on the skin is not too harsh. It's not too intense. For me, I feel like it works so well with my skin tone, but you could definitely build it up and have it much punchier. The formula also is very smooth, and it has a luminosity to it. The color 60 has no glitter in it, but the color 50 is more of that golden peachy rosy shade, and it definitely has a shimmer in it, but they're so fine. It's very soft on the skin. It does remind me of the NARS Orgasm blush, but I like this one better. There's no chunky glitters. It's a beautiful shift, and it just sits better on the skin. I think it's much more flattering, and even though you have that shimmer, that gold shift in it, I think it's very, very, very flattering on the skin. And like I showed you in other videos, I do like combining these two because the color 60 is so stunning. I think it's such a unique color, but adding the 50 on top, it's almost like a highlighter for me. Like, I didn't put any highlighter today, and I think it's so refined and elegant, but still have a punch and a color to it. So this combination has been my favorite, and I think this release was wonderful. I do want to try the peach color or like the more orangey color, and then the shade 10, but we don't have it in US. So when those come, I will pick those up. Another blush that I've been reaching for so much is the Chanel. This is in Pastel Fuchsia. It's kind of sold out, I think, right now, sadly, but oh, this is again a highlighter blush duo, and I think it is a very unique, beautiful blush. And I really have been reaching for this as a highlighter, blush topper, even a blush on its own. I think it is so soft, so spring appropriate. I'm gonna stop talking about it because it's sold out, but wow, I love this one so much. It is very unique. I'm gonna mention this real quick, the Rare Beauty color Virtue. I know I mentioned it in the last video and in my favorites, March favorites, but this blush, wow, this is my favorite blush color that a Rare Beauty released, and I think it's fabulous. I had to mention it. Because of all the glowy blushes that I have not reached for a highlighter this month pretty much at all. I mean, if I put this Chanel blush or the Armani blush, you do not need a highlighter. I feel like it would just be too much. So I'm not going to mention a highlighter. Moving on to eyeshadows. I have a couple eyeshadow palettes that I've discovered this month that I really like, or this past couple months. Even though I haven't worn a ton of eyeshadow palettes, I kind of am getting inspiration and I want to play with more eyeshadows just because it's spring and I think I'm excited for that. One is, again, the Chanel limited edition. This is in the color, I never know these colors, 68. And I like this one because it's spring appropriate. I've packed it with me when I went on vacation. I think it's a really beautiful eyeshadow palette. Now this one from NARS, this I picked up in the Sephora sale. This is the Orgasm Rising eyeshadow palette. And like I mentioned in my past videos, I've never tried an eyeshadow palette from NARS, and this is so beautiful. It's what I'm wearing right now, and I've done multiple looks with this, more softer looks, even more intense than this one. This is more of a coppery pinky shade that I've used on my eyes, and I just think the formula is so good, and you have so many different formulas in here. You have some mattes, you have some like really intense sparkles, some beautiful shimmers, softer shimmers, some that have a little bit of a glitter in them. I think that this palette is so beautiful. It's basic, but like luxury basic and elegant basic, glam basic. And I think the formula is fabulous, even though it looks like you don't have a lot of dimension or a lot of options in the colors. I was able to create different looks and all of them looked beautiful. Today I just wanted to do a little bit more of a mishmash of everything. So I tried this middle shade Seduced in all over the lid. It was quite intense, so I had to calm it down with some of the other brighter shades, but this one definitely packs a punch, and it has a lot more copper in it than you'd expect. Just overall, I think the palette is very easy to use yet sophisticated, and I've loved it. I've been reaching for this quite a bit. It's almost like I'm wanting to do my eye look so I can reach for this palette. I think the mattes are very easy, very blendable and buildable as well. I think the shimmers can be soft or like a little bit more punchy, and I really think that it doesn't matter what skin you have, if it's smoother or if it has more wrinkles or aging skin. I really think that these shimmers would still look very beautiful. This pink one right here on the bottom right is very, very smooth, and it has a little bit of that duochrome that has that gold shift. You could put this all over the lid with a matte, and I think it would just be so soft and impactful at the same time. Just everything about this palette, I find it beautiful, and I like the packaging as well. An individual eyeshadow topper is this Makeup by Mario in Quartz. I really have reached for this more than probably any of the other products. I'm gonna show you. I didn't put it on, but it just gives like a small sparkle all over the lid. It's so elegant and refined, but impactful, even with nothing on. You just add a little bit of this and it's almost like you have wet eyeshadow. I have been loving this, and I really have been reaching for this even by itself with a little liner. This has a creaminess to it when you touch it, but the sparkles are kind of elegant. It kind of reminds me of the Midnight Cowboy from Urban Decay, just more without a base. Without that peachy base, this is like white, which I think it's even easier to use because you can put it on top of any eyeshadow to get more of that wet look or a little bit of a sparkle. Love this so much. For mascara, I have been using the YSL mascara since I bought it, and I do like it. It is a drier formula, so if you don't like that drier, very voluminous, slight clumpiness, you won't like this one, but I do like that. I'm still waiting to see if it'll dry on me because I feel like because it's a more of that dry formula, I expect it to dry, and my last one dried quickly. But loving this one. Also the brown one, dare I say I like the brown color more than the black one. Last sections is lips, and I reduced it to just a few that really impressed me this month. I still have my favorite that I mention all the time, but the Anastasia lip liners. Where have I been? I do remember trying them once, and I thought I had one, but I must have lost it. But my favorite is the color Deep Taupe. I'm wearing it today. I love the way this goes on. I like that you can blend it in and just wear it as a lipstick, and these stay on so well. I think the formula is beautiful. I like that you can sharpen these, and I just think these are so beautiful. I've heard people talk about them, and I took the plunge. I have 4 shades right now, but Deep Taupe is definitely my favorite. The Tom Ford new liquid lipsticks. I bought 2 shades. The first shade I got was Lark, and then I went in to purchase the Naked Haze. Wow, this really is a beautiful new formula that I think is innovative. These feel like absolutely nothing on your lips. Truly feels like I have nothing, yet they stay on really well. They're transfer proof, and I like the shades I picked up. This one here is the color Lark and Naked Haze. Right now I have Naked Haze on my lips, and I like it because it's more of a nude color. The thing I like about this that you can have a wash of the color, or you can build them up for a stronger look. I really like the way these looked washed on my lips. Like I faded with my finger, and they look so stunning. They are not that liquid lipstick that's drying. It truly feels like nothing on the lips. And then the Lark is also a beautiful color that when I fade it with my finger, it really has an impact, but it's still wearable. I think this new formula is so beautiful. I do see myself buying a red color. They have more of an orangey red, but they were sold out. But I wanted to pick that one up. But in the future, I will pick another one just because these last so well on the lips. They don't like crumble and separate. They're so thin and they feel like nothing. So the way liquid lipsticks feel is so important for me, and overall I'm more of a matte lipstick girl rather than glossy. So this, even though they are an arm and a leg, I think they are worth the money because of the formula. I do think the color range is not my favorite. These are the 2 nudist colors you can get, and then there's a ton of reds and they all look the same, but hopefully they'll expand on the color range. Haus Labs. This is the first time I tried this. This is the Crayon Maple Matte. Ooh, this is so beautiful. This color is a new one from her, and she came out with I think 4 nudes, and this is my favorite. the Maple Matte. I love the color. It's kind of like a brown that has a little bit of coolness in it. It's not that warm brown. So I find it very flattering. This is the first time I'm trying the formula, and so I was so impressed with how comfortable they felt on, how opaque they were going on. The one negative is that I didn't find them extremely long lasting. Even though it has more of that matte finish, I didn't find them super long lasting. I would say it was normal, but if I would eat something, they would go away, so I had to go and reapply, which I was expecting for some reason these to last much longer because of the applicator and the formula. But yeah, that's the one negative thing. However, I didn't mind reapplying it. It's not like it would disappear if I would just talk, but if I would eat, they would disappear. Unlike the Tom Ford. The Tom Ford will still be there. It will fade a little bit, but you'll have it on. This I had to reapply, but the color, so beautiful. I should reapply. I'm gonna put a little bit on top of what I have right now just to show you. This is like the perfect almost 90s look on me. Such a beautiful color. The formula feels very nice. It's blendable, and yeah, this color, I think it's the color that I love so much. I think I'm gonna leave the lips here. I still have used, you know, a lot of the other ones that I've been loving, but these are newer and the ones that kind of stood out to me. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like always, I would love to talk to you in the comments down below, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.